FishTalkTV. That's fishing for the rest of us. I'm Charlie.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Joe.
Hey, we're the guys that are here as often as we can, telling you about what we've been doing fishing here in South Jersey. It's a small spot of local and regional information on fishing. However, you know, we've gotten over 2,000 viewers now by way of our website. The stats out there say we had actually 1,973.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we appreciate it. Tell your friends. We want to get over that 2,000 mark maybe this month or next, but we sure do appreciate you watching. Send us any comments you might have. We'd really be interested in what you think of this show and what we're doing. And you can send that to charlie@fishsj.com or to joe@fishsj.com or mark@fishsj.com. And send us along maybe the photos or videos or whatever else you think that would be appropriate. We'd sure like to get that information. We'll post it both on the website here. We might even use it here on the show. All right, hey guys, since the last time we were out, it's been a while because of weather, bad weather, followed by...
More bad weather.
Yeah, you bet. It's been a mess.
I mean, even before the bad weather, you had bad, we call it the pressure system coming through that made the seas difficult to go out in, all the rain, cooling the temperatures, murking the water. It's been a nasty couple,
It's
few
been
weeks.
mess. You know, well, Mark, Joe, and I, and Todd went out about 10, 15 days ago, and it was right just after the hurricane, as a matter of fact, a couple days after. And we came out of Cape May and went out to the Cape May Reef, and we went out in about 3.5 to 4 foot seas, and then we get out there was roughly 4 to 5. Now, they're rollers for the most part, and when you're fishing like that, it's not too bad. However, the winds picked up, and that turned 4 feet into some really nasty 4-footers.
Yeah, it made for a wet ride back in,
Yes,
that's for sure.
And
And again, all we were catching were, literally we were catching weak fish that were this big as the bait.
In the photos, when we get to that section of our show today, we're going to show you some really special fish that I actually caught. Now, I won't tell the viewers what it is because I'd give it away.
Put it this way, it's got 5 arms.
And it's not a flounder. So it's really been snotty, guys. There's not a whole lot to talk about. And plus, fishing itself is slowed down.
Well, at this time of year, September is normally a great time for fishing. Black sea bass come inshore. Normally, wheat fish and croaker start showing up. You start getting the reawakening of the striper season. So right now, you would think it would be really hot. But with all these weather systems coming through...
And black sea bass is now closed.
And, of course, black sea bass closed because of the, National Marine Fisheries quota system that we have.
And flounder going out this Saturday or
That's
Sunday.
right.
Hey, do it now.
Exactly.
Do it now.
Your last chance for flounder.
Actually, Saturday is the last day.
Is it Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
It's Saturday?
Yeah, it's the exact day. It is the 25th, which is Saturday. So,
well, most of the flounder right now are probably offshore. So if you're inshore and it's crappy out there, you might be able to do any flounder fishing. So,
well, you can flounder fish, but doesn't...
You may not be flounder catching.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Well, there will be the occasional ones that are still leaving the back bays, but, there won't be the concentration that you're looking for.
That's what I'm known for.
Yeah, the concentration.
I look good when I fish. I just didn't get to catch it. All right? Now,
especially when you're using the Barbie pole, you look good.
Well, that we're going to show the folks, I think, very shortly, maybe even in this show, or following this show, one of the two. Folks are not going to believe it. We won't tell you what that is, but it's a surprise. If you like it, you got to tell us. You got to email us, and we'll make a whole series out of it. It's really quite funny. With that, guys, because the seasons are starting to close, a lot of people get their boat out this time of year. Now, fishing for the rest of us, because we're weekend warriors, we're going to stay in. We want to go to striper fishing. We know that some of you folks do too. However, a lot of folks don't. A lot of folks pull.
What you call them? Fair weather fishermen.
Is that one step under fishing for the rest of us?
I mean, then Labor Day comes about. That's it. They're done.
No earlier than Memorial Day, no later than Labor Day, and primarily it's weekend folks like ourselves. But you know, a lot of folks right now are changing their tune. It's football that they're going to do, or they're going to do something else.
Well, the kids are back in school,
Yeah.
you know, and you just don't have the time. You got to take care of the kids. Now they're back in sports, and you know, you got to follow them to their games or whatever it might be. You have to support your kids and your family. And once school starts, all bets are off as far as fishing is concerned.
Plus, some people just don't like cold weather on the water.
I wonder who that could be, Joe.
I can't feel my fingers after a certain temperature, you
You
know.
know, we're coming to that season that, you know, when it's 60 degrees inland where we're at, it'll be 40 degrees on the water.
On the water, right.
Well, right now the water temperature is still pretty warm. It's in the high 60s, low 70s. So it's actually warmer in and by the water than it is on land. But that's going to reverse pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to get the water temperature for stripers. It's got to get down.
Well, you want to do the 60s to start biting, and we also need that slug of bass to come down from New England. That's probably just starting to move through Long Island Sound and that area right now. So I haven't heard any reports, but if you look at the temperature and you look at the way they normally move, they're probably moving, you know, out of the Gulf of Maine and down the coast and up into the rivers along lower New England right now. And as they move their way down, which we'll get to hear probably next week or two, the beginnings of it will start to show up, and then the major part of them will be near the end of October through, you know, beginning of December.
Well, that's the fishing. One of the fishes that I really love. Of all the fish I love to eat is the striper. And hopefully this year, if I'm going to catch one keeper, I hope it's a striper. So far, it's been fish 1, Charlie 0. So that's not too good. Now, from a fishing point of view, no matter where you go right now, nobody's reporting anything in the really inshore or the bays. Delaware Bay is an instance like a report that you might as well just put your rod over with no bait or hook on it.
Yeah, unless you're up into the upper creeks or you're up by Bayview and all the, was it Bayside, et cetera, whether up there for white perch or catfish or you know, up there in the brackish waters where it's a little different what they fish in. They're normally in quieter waters in the back. Or you're crabbing, you know, crabbing's still fairly good in the Fortescue area, but you know, by and large, that's what you're dealing with now. You're dealing with the peripheral things as opposed to the main focus like bluefish. Well, Charlie, you said you had some fishing facts.
I do, Joe. Maybe they're interesting, maybe they're not.
Well, is this for this year or is this for last year?
This is 2010, in which the only numbers are available. There are 10 million fishermen made 71 million fishing trips. I think I made 70 of them and have caught none. So, however, those fishermen caught 357 million fish, 60% of which, I think is an interesting number, they released and let go. They weighed a total of 197 million pounds, and this is what I think is interesting, because this is really us, because we're really talking about South Jersey fishing. And that is the Atlantic coast represented 62% of all the trips.
No, which is this National Marine Fisheries coastal, both Pacific and East Coast fisheries combined, and we are 62% of that?
It just, yes, says Atlantic coast is the way they report it.
I'll be darned.
And of that, it represents 55% of all the caught fish. You know, when you look at the whole United States, and this includes, by the way, fresh and salt water, that's pretty significant when you talk about the sheer volume that was caught. Now, in the Atlantic coast, what they're talking about, they rated ranked fish by number caught, and the first is what? What would you guess?
Flounder?
Striped bass.
Striped bass?
Yeah, I was surprised myself.
Well, you know, in weight, you can see it could be large for weight because there's a number of larger fish, but habit for numbers was also there.
By the way, it's interesting, the stripers, the highest degree of release was in the stripers. 77% were released. Second was flounder, Mark, and then followed by fluefish.
Bluefish.
Bluefish. That's the other type of bluefish. And but the numbers are down.
What's the number on bluefish, Kelly, in terms?
16 million. But that's down from 21.
Oh, I bet you it was 200 million in the 80s.
Probably. It's been crashing. The whole bluefish has been crashing out. A friend of mine, Jack, was out with his son and nephew over the weekend. They went out on a headboat out in Riel, and they went night fishing for blues. And they came back in with, they caught a total of 6 between the three of them. They came in with about three of them, but all of them were 10 pounds or more, which is pretty significant.
Nice.
Well, they're big fish, but they only caught 6 fish between them.
No, yes, but now they were on a headboat, there was many, many more caught.
But even though, I mean, you remember the guys going out on, say, the Miss Barnegat Light or some of these other ones, when they went out for bluefish, everybody came back with a duffel bag full.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Well, even Dad, when he'd come back, he had all the bluefish anybody in the neighborhood could want. Today, I haven't seen a bluefish of that size.
We got one bluefish this year, Joe got. That's it, one bluefish. And it was tailor size.
Tailor size.
Yeah,
That was
I
it.
mean, we caught a couple snappers incidentally here or there, but in terms of the normal numbers of, you know, a normal run coming into where we're at, hasn't happened. Actually, hasn't happened probably in 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
Charlie, we were so concentrated on bluefish years ago in May, late April, early May. You're guaranteed, if you're not out there for stripers, if you're not set up for stripers, you know you at least could catch some bluefish.
Yes.
And you could run around and either look for gulls working or just cast metal anywhere and you'd get blues. I mean, literally, it didn't matter. You could just close your eyes and cast and there's a bluefish to be had. Right now, you could hunt these things down and the best you're going to do is something after peanut bunker that's a little bit bigger than a peanut bunker.
So they'll fry.
And you're just not seeing them. So something has happened. I don't know what it is, whether or not the prey-predator cycle is broken. There was overfish, which it's hard to believe.
I thought the bluefish was on the top of the predator list of fish.
Oh, absolutely. It's way up there at the top.
So that's really kind of surprising when you consider that, how the numbers have dropped that
Well,
dramatically.
there's always less, when you look at this type of sort of energy reserve going up through the system, there's always, it's sort of like a pyramid. There's always a lot more of the forage fish, your bait fish,
Right,
whether it's
right.
bunker or the menhaden or the silver sides or whatever's out there, mommy chug. There's always a lot more of them. And as you go up what they call the trophic or energy levels, there's always fewer.
Sure.
There's one lion for every 2 whatever, and on down. The same thing in fishes. But even at the top, there was always plenty in large numbers because the bottom numbers were large. What may be happening is that these bottom numbers, how often do you see anymore, the massive sheets of bunker that we used to do? I mean, you used to be able to literally look anywhere and there's bunker jumping or bunker moving somewhere. That sort of stopped, and maybe that cascaded down to the top predator, which includes bluefish and striped bass.
Well, with the top predator in mind, we're going to stop for a minute and show you some of the things we have caught recently.
Some of them big predators.
Yeah, we no laughing now. We'll see in just a moment.
Let's go! Gonna go! Here we go with Fish Talk Radio. Talk fishing, info, so much more. Get weather, fish better.
All right, Ham, were they monster fish or what?
I like the one that had 5 arms.
Hey, that was my catch.
And it was this big. Let's see what a big one.
And it was a catch and release, by the way.
I took pride. I showed it to everyone in the boat, so they actually knew I caught something.
Well, at least it was alive, unlike this one.
It was alive at one time, maybe 1,000 years ago. It was alive. As you can see, I'm not much of a catcherman. These guys are the real fishermen. I try, they do, I don't. So, well, with that, guys, we're hoping now the weather's going to change here shortly, and maybe a little colder. Maybe those stripers will start coming down here in a few weeks, and then we'll have something better for the folks to report on, and some decent pictures of those stripers.
Yeah, hopefully at this point we can come out this coming weekend, go after some flounders ourselves. If not flounder, at least maybe anchor up and go for some kingfish somewhere along right up next to the shore.
Oh, yeah, with our fish bites.
Oh,
That stuff is rich.
Don't let it out.
That was a secret.
Well, that's what we used to do with when the Gulf first came out.
Fish bites.
Fish bites. It's unbelievable stuff. I've only used them once, and it just
Made you a believer instant. Actually, it was instantaneous. He literally put it on. It didn't even hit the bottom. He goes, "I'm sold."
Mark, let's trip out Joe Brunson. I'm using a piece about 1 inch long.
Oh, it wasn't even that big. You had that little piece. It was.
And now I was double rigging. I was going for fluke. I get to the bottom and wham! I actually caught a fish. Me.
brought it up and it was a fluke.
And it was a fluke, and it was because of the fish, this fish.
Fish bites. I'm telling you, when I first put it on, I put a piece this big. As soon as it hit the bottom, I had a black sea bass. Within 10 minutes, I had a black sea bass, a weak fish, a bluefish, no, it's not a bluefish, a kingfish, and a flounder within 10 minutes. And the more times I used the same bait, it got worse, and it just started to be like falling apart. It looked like a piece of rug with a little tiny red on it.
Yeah.
They didn't care. They kept on going after it.
Well, when we were out on Charlie's boat, when I was catching, when Charlie and Todd were standing around, essentially, they were raking the bottom for me and putting lines saying, this is poor Joe's bait. I was using a combination of fish bites and a mumming chug, or, a killie.
Yeah.
And you saw the killie was coming up. It looked like it was in a prize ring. It was being fought. It looked like the other fish were coming up and beating it up. What they were doing, they were coming up and saying, move out of the way, that's mine. And they were trying to take the fish bite. They didn't want the mumming chug. They wanted the fish bite.
And the funny thing is, the fish bite's been around for a long time.
Exactly. I thought it was just a bogus story of how, this little tiny red piece of plastic or whatever you want to call it
Like
did so well. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I said, that's a bunch of bull,
Look, if you just got a piece of secret that, look, when I can catch fish on it, believe me, it works. So give it a try. Look for fish bites at your store. And with that, guys, I think it's about time for us to wrap it up. And for that, I'm Charlie.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Joe.
We'll see you next time.
See you.
Keep your rods in the water.